And I'm not going to go into a lot of introduction of Scott, just to keep us on time. You probably all know I'm Ohio University Boynton School, director of the Consortium for Energy, Economics, and the Environment. I have to say, on a personal note, Scott was my boss at one time, and one of the best I've ever had. Taught me a lot, and so I am very pleased to have him here to moderate the second panel.
Thank you, Jane. And thank you all for coming out tonight. It's a pleasure to be here. As Jane mentioned, my name is Scott Miller. I'm the director of a group at Ohio University called the Consortium for Energy, Economics, and the Environment. And I'm so happy that our first panelists were talking about the intersections between energy and economics and the environment, of course. This group was formed 10 years ago to purposefully look at those intersections. We are going through a huge transition, just very briefly, a huge transition in Ohio and nationally. We're seeing the decommissioning of 6.5 gigawatts of coal-fired electricity in the state of Ohio alone. AEP alone has announced the retirement of 7 coal-fired power plants, 2 more being transitioned over to natural gas generation. So we are seeing a lot of transition. A lot of the delta there is being made up by natural gas and renewables and energy efficiency. And so that sea change that is occurring right now is the backdrop for our first panel and also for our second panel. We've got a great panel here. This is a group of folks that are on the kind of the procurement and the end use side of energy efficiency and renewable energy. And I saw that they were all sort of jostling through who's not going to be in the first seat. So Christine pulled up the short straw. So I'm just going to start here with Christine and have her describe a little bit about what the Village Bakery's been doing in procuring solar, geothermal, and other things. They're really a leader here in Athens County for this. So you've got a microphone, so go right ahead.
Can you all hear me from here? All right. So yeah, most of you know us, but for those of you from out of town, we've been in business since 2002. Village Bakery was our beginning, and now we have 2 other businesses that are part of that, Della Zona Pizzeria and Catalyst Cafe, all in Athens. And we've started from the beginning with local, organic, chemical-free, small-scale agriculture as our focus. So that's what our economy is based on. And one question we ask ourselves when we're looking for a new supplier or considering a new supplier is, how will this food, the purchase of this food, affect the future capacity for health? And we look at that in kind of 3 different spheres: the personal or your own family sphere of health, community or this culture's health, and then planetary health. So we try to keep all those things in mind as we build our business. And we have been growing the business over these 13 years. And we also ask who's producing food in ways that enrich the health of a community. So we get to create relationships with all these different local growers. Some of them may be in the room tonight. Definitely their food is represented in the refreshments over there, which is all local, organic food. So we choose foods that are grown without petrochemical fertilizers, pesticides, and herbicides. So I wanted to point that out because that's kind of our entry point for how we interact with the fossil fuel economy that exists. We try to stay away from it as much as possible. So we've been kind of off the grid for a long time when it comes to the industrial food system by building all these relationships with growers that don't use those petrochemicals in their food. And so starting in about 2010, we started to consider our energy purchases in the very same way. We hadn't really thought of it before about how the energy we use, which was conventional energy, plugging into the socket, what that was doing into all of those things. How does this energy that I'm considering using affect the future capacity for health in these 3 spheres? So we took action because we recognized that, our energy use was affecting, we could see how our neighbors were affected by the growing use of fossil fuels. The expansion of the shale industry in particular was affecting some of our suppliers. So immediately we, I think, called Jeff, or maybe Jeff called us, but we got a solar system installed, and that was amazing. We got to produce 12K, is that the right number, on our roof. And then, oh, I wanted to start out by saying, so in 2010, we were using about 94,000 kilowatt hours a year of electricity, plus about 1,000 therms, I believe is the term, of gas. So right away we did that first solar installation, and then we, in the first year, because that was such an inspiring thing and we got so much good feedback from our customers and our workers, we really started focusing on energy, and we reduced our energy use by another 12K. So that was just in the first year. So when you're doing this, just recognize that a lot of your gains are going to come immediately, because just once you focus on energy, you'll be amazed at how much energy you can save. Okay, then, and much of that energy was saved through refrigeration, because we use a lot of refrigeration in a restaurant industry. We traded out our older refrigerators that cost us less money up front, but were costing us a lot over the year. So we reduced our refrigeration energy use by 75%, up to 75%. And our lighting, we switched out to LEDs and saved about 90% in lighting. There's a lot of lighting in the restaurant and market. Then we went to replace our gas ovens with a wood-fired oven. This was built by a local company, Natural Builders, Chris Fox, and that was able to replace our 3 gas ovens. So that saved us, you know, a bunch of those therms. Just learned that term today. Then we were so, you know, still focused on energy. Of course, we're still focused on food too, but we were recognizing how intertwined the food and energy economy is. So we said, I think this time you definitely came to us and said, you guys should put more solar on. Maybe we came up with it. We didn't have any more roof space. So somebody designed, I think Chris and you, maybe Bob, my partner Bob O'Neill, helped conceive of doubling our roof space by building this canopy in front of the bakery. So now we've got another 12K system. And then, and with that, we also learned that the cooling effect of that low roof was an incredible saver for all of our air conditioning needs. So we, again, were able, in the last 5 years, to reduce another 12K of, what is that again? Kilowatt hours. So over the 5 years that we've just been thinking about it, we feel like we've been able to make a huge jump and a huge descent in the amount of fossil fuels that we use. And in fact, we've reduced 50% of our fossil fuel use. And we've got 0 gas at the Village Bakery. So we're super proud of that. I mean, it all adds up to you know, we're doing this because we can. We're a business. We can use your money, my customers' money can be spent on things like this, but we're not alone. We're part of a growing movement, and you know, it's definitely going to take all of us. And yes, I agree, we're going to have to keep talking to our legislators and doing everything else that we can to keep pushing for this, because the majority of Ohioans want clean energy. And as soon as somebody does make that telemarketing phone call and says, I can do this for you for no cost or for the same cost, I think the doors are going to be, you know, kicked wide open. So I can't wait for that day to come, and I'll keep working for it.
Thank you, Christine. So 2 messages there. I like the message about the personal health, the community health, and planetary health, which is a nice segue into our next speaker, Reverend Robert Martin, who is the minister of the First Presbyterian Church here in Athens. The faith community has a huge role here, and he's here representing Interfaith Power and Light. So, Reverend Martin.
Thanks. Back in 2010, our church community decided that one of the ways we could participate with Interfaith Power and Light was taking advantage of their energy audit program. We were able to partner with them through Columbia Gas and AEP. We had an energy audit done on our building in which recommendations were made on the way we could save money. You've heard the business model. I want to give you the moral imperative model. You may have read the papal encyclical that came out. Care for planet and people, in which the Pope recognized that caring for the planet also cares for the most vulnerable in our societies. So in 2010, we took advantage of this program, had the energy audit done, and a series of recommendations. I know, would have liked as a community to go to a more renewable energy source. Given our building's location, they're on the corner of Court and Washington with a number of buildings with a much higher footprint than ours, plus a roof that was probably not really designed to put solar panels on. That was not feasible. However, what was feasible was to change out our boiler system to go with boilers that were now more than 95% efficient. Chris Schmiel started us off by saying that 52% of our energy savings could be done in energy efficiency. So we were able to upgrade about a 60% efficient boiler to over a 95% efficient boiler. We took out our water heater and put a hot water on demand heating system in. Therefore, we weren't firing water the whole time. We changed every light bulb in our church out to LED bulbs. Our sanctuary lights were operating with 4 600-watt bulbs in each of our chandeliers. We replaced them with 4 LED bulbs, which had a combined wattage of 100 watts. So we went from 600 to 100. In 2012, we tracked all of the savings that we had. It was close to 20% in 2012. And because of that, the EPA, we had participated in what's called the EPA Energy Star Award program. It was a national program. And lo and behold, we were named the #1 house of worship in the entire United States. I'm pleased to say that since then, we've seen even more savings with new technology in relation to our control panels and control systems. We're now close to 30% savings on our utility bills on a yearly basis. And because of that, we have been able to take the money that we would have spent for utility costs and put it back into programs like housing and feeding programs here in Athens, and to distribute more mission money, which is really what we want to do in the first place. So it has been a very good way of not only introducing our members to the building, but then also challenging them to make some of those same changes in their own homes where they could, and some of our members have done that already. It led us to the next step, which is now we're completely compostable. We now, as a church, participate with compost exchange so that all of our fellowship dinners and everything else, all the leftovers or whatever gets composted, gets picked up. All of our plates are biodegradable. They're made with a sugarcane product. It's completely compostable. So here we are in the church that, we're trying each and every day to figure out new ways to save money, to save the environment, to save our dollars for those that really need it the most. So we're excited to keep growing and working with Interfaith Power and Light to encourage other congregations, not only in Athens County, but around the state of Ohio, to take some of these similar measures. So that's where we are.
Thank you, Reverend. Christine and Reverend Mark both are talking about incremental progress. You don't bite off the entire, you don't eat the whole elephant all at once. You take small bites at a time, and that's an important message because a lot of people think, hey, we're going to solve all of our problems with renewables or energy efficiency or whatever it is, but it's a small incremental progress that, put it in, study it, see what the next opportunity is, put that in, so on and so forth. So our next several speakers, we're going to transition a little bit into a class of folks, and you just all sat together, so I want to mention this, that sometimes referred to as the MUSH market, the municipalities, universities, schools, and hospitals. And so these folks are going to be our MUSH panel, and so I'm going to ask Joe Lally, who's here representing Ohio University. Joe is the Senior Associate Vice President for IT and for Administration. He's going to talk a little bit about what's going on at one of our largest employers in Athens County.
Well, thank you, Scott. I've been called a lot of things this week, but this was a new one. So 4 years ago, the university entered into an agreement to stop burning coal by the end of 2015. And we did agree to and did put together a group to study alternative approaches to supplying the campus with reliable energy. That group, comprised of faculty, students, and staff, recommended Ohio University move to natural gas as the best source for supplying energy to campus. At the same time, the university initiated a $27 million performance contract to undertake energy conservation measures. We also began a process of studying how to improve the efficiency of our energy delivery systems and buildings. About a year ago, the Board of Trustees approved the Energy Infrastructure Initiative project that has 4 key components. As Chris pointed out, conservation is a major component of that. That's the energy we do not use or waste. And at Ohio, unfortunately, it's a very rich field in terms of opportunity, and we are doing as much as we can to make progress in that area. Another component was electricity. The procurement of electricity, the delivery to campus, and the distribution on campus to the end user. And for heating and cooling, we're looking at sources of thermal energy, what our options are there, and at the efficiency of distribution systems, reliability, and production of our production systems. The university is still on track to meet our goal to stop burning coal by the end of this year and to meet the EPA regulatory requirements that take effect at the end of January of next year. The schedule remains quite tight and many challenges remain. In the fall of 2014, we awarded a contract to RMF Engineering of Baltimore, Maryland to develop an energy and utility master plan. That planning effort, which is being coordinated with the campus master plan, will advise us on strategies and changes we need to make and opportunities that we can pursue to source various kinds of energy and improve our energy plants and our distribution systems and recommendations on what we need to do in our buildings. The university is in the midst of a capital improvement program that is a commitment to address the programmatic needs of the academic research and student communities and accomplish critical repairs to buildings to make them more energy efficient. The project will convert antiquated HVAC systems such as in-building steam heating to position the university to use less BTUs per square foot adjusted for enthalpy and to be able to take advantage of renewable sources for heating, cooling, as we can implement them. Recently completed renovations to Tupper, Lindley Hall, and the renovations to McCracken Hall that have just started are examples of that. Some of the challenges we faced is that the university is very reliant on steam for heating and cooling. The buildings are a big part of the problem. Fossil fuel, either natural gas or number 2 heating oil, from our perspective remains the only practical alternative in the short term. The university is faced with the replacement of steam absorption chillers. We have about 20 of those that we use to cool the buildings in addition. The buildings are really part of the challenge in approaching alternative systems such as geothermal for heating and cooling. One of the challenges is the conversion of 25 or 100 buildings to either medium temperature geothermal systems or low temperature geothermal systems. Medium temperature systems run about 180 degrees Fahrenheit, or low temperatures run about 140 to 170 degrees. Temperature hot water heating systems and the development of a new distribution infrastructure to serve those buildings. The land available for geothermal wells is limited on campus and bounded by the Wellhead Protection District. As a commercial customer, the purchase and delivery of electricity for Ohio University in a market that is undergoing deregulation is complicated. It becomes even more complicated when it involves scheduling and dispatch of electricity from resources that are not always available, for example, solar or wind. This is why we're in the process of selecting an energy procurement partner who is independent of an energy producer, experienced in such matters, who can best help us in that selection process that's still underway. The incorporation of modern controls technology in the management of building, plants, and distribution systems requires that we invest in the development of our skill sets of our current and future employees. And another little challenge we've come across as we look at opportunities for sourcing is the fact that OU is not a designated political subdivision and limits some of our choices when we try to go directly to producers of hydro and wind and other alternative sources. The opportunities that we see is that we have started on a multi-year plan to upgrade our facilities that will, as part of planned renovations, provide the opportunity to make them more energy efficient and replace steam-based systems with mechanical systems with those who are adaptable to alternative energy sources such as geothermal. We are expecting to complete the transition to natural gas as the primary source of fuel by December 31st, as I mentioned. This will result in about a 28% reduction in carbon emissions from this year's levels, anticipated levels, and about a 45% reduction from the 2011 levels where we were burning primarily coal. We are exploring strategic sourcing of electric commodity to meet or exceed the 20% of energy sources coming from renewable energy by 2020 or the 20 by 2020 goal, such as a renewable project where the university might own assets with or without a renewable energy certificate strategy, or perhaps purchasing a slice of a system arrangement with an independent system producer of solar, wind, or hydro. Ideally, we'd like to be an anchor tenant on such a system, and I think Friday we're meeting with Chris Neal and some SOPEC users to explore what the chart path might be to becoming an anchor tenant on a proposed 3 megawatt system and see if we can make something around that happen. It might be a simple strategy of simply buying offsetting RECs from the brown top. We are also looking at the possibilities of using smaller geothermal systems to provide heating and cooling of certain buildings on campus that we can isolate and segment off. Another opportunity is the development of the floodplain area as a geothermal field. Not good for building buildings, but probably a good spot for geothermal storage. And we know that this is, as you correctly said, a transition process, something we're going to have to keep chipping away at. We're not done at the end of this year when we switch off the bulb.
Thank you, Joe. So we go from an institution the size of a small city to a small village. We've got Gary Goosman, who's the mayor of Athensville, talk a little bit about what's going on in his village.
Yeah, we could fit in one dorm with room to spare, I think, for the village of Athensville. My day job is with the Corporation for Ohio Appalachian Development, and my side job is the mayor. Small towns around here, all mayors are part-time. And a few years ago, we started looking around for mostly about economic development. What could we do? Because we were a thriving community 50, 60 years ago. We had a sawmill, we had 2 grocery stores, we had a feed store, feed mill, we had all kinds of stuff. And it was a thriving little community. Economic depression and recession have hurt us, other industries going away. Out our way, floods hurt us more than anything. We got hit by floods because of deforestation, I guess to some degree. The floods kept getting worse and worse. But we started looking at what can we do to revitalize ourselves and bring things back. And Ohio University came out and worked with us on doing some studies around the community about what were viable options to get more jobs, to increase business and to do things. And we started looking at what were the paradigm shifts that would be necessary to make those things happen. Well, the first thing that appeared to us was really food, which you heard Christine talk about. We have a business, a farm outside of Amesville, Green Edge Gardens, Kip and Becky Rondi. And where most farmers around us, you know, they have to have day jobs and they come home, get on their tractor, and they grow 70 acres of corn, which you cannot make a dime on. Kip and Becky did hoop houses and were able to hire, they have 15 employees now, and they produce massive quantities of greens and specialty crops and everything. And so they were like a model for a shift from one set of economics away to something else. And with the university, then they started looking with us to identify other niches in this study. And we looked at transportation, we looked at housing, we looked at energy, and looked at the environment as an asset that we could use. We looked at tourism. And so after food, the one that came up next for us, just kind of by happenstance, was really energy, because I go to a group called Mayor's Partnership for Progress, which is mayors from 13 counties in southeast Ohio. We get together once a month. We talk about our problems and our challenges and what we can do to fix them. And Joe Buck from AEP came in and said, we're looking for guinea pigs to do this pilot program about how we as AEP are not being successful reaching out to end users to be more efficient and cut their energy. But we think at the grassroots level, maybe you all who know the community, rather than us as a business, maybe you all from the grassroots up can create something that will work. And they said, so we have this pilot program called Energy Savers. And we'd like you to double your participation in all of these energy audits and appliance recycling and Energy Star appliances and all this kind of stuff. And we'll work with you, but we want you to teach us how to market from the ground up. And so we did that. We got our council, we went door to door, we did flyers, we went into the elementary school and taught classes about where energy comes from and how to conserve it and all these things. And so over a 3-month span of that project, we increased all of the use of those programs with AEP by 250%. And so the incentive for us was they gave us a cash award at the end of the thing. They said, here you go, for helping us figure out new marketing ways to reach out in a community, collaboratively and door to door, person to person, not telemarketing. We're going to give you this cash award. Now for us, we use that cash award. We're building a shelter and a kiosk in the village to honor our local heritage. We are part of the Underground Railroad, and very proud of that. We are also home to the first library in the state of Ohio, the Coonskin Library, and we're very proud of that. That 200 years ago, somebody took a bunch of furs to Boston and brought back 57 books for people on the frontier. So we're building the shelter, and we're putting solar panels on the shelter to operate a touchscreen kiosk to show our local history. So and as we did that study with Ohio University and the research, all of these sectors overlap. The food overlapped with the energy, with the tourism. Agro-tourism was a possibility with Green Edge Gardens as well as our local history. So they didn't seem separate sectors anymore the more we started looking into that. And so we've got a lot of things going on now, and I'm proud too that Amesville was one of the early adopters of aggregation, and I serve on the board of SOPEC. So as a small community, we like to think we're doing innovative things to move these issues forward.
Thank you, Gary. We're going to switch now to Sarah Conley-Ballew, who is the Director of Upgrade Athens County, which is the outreach and communications arm of SOPEC and very closely related. But she's going to talk a little bit about what's going on with Upgrade. So, Sarah.
Thanks, Scott. Yeah, I feel like I stand on the shoulder of giants up here. I mean, truly, Athens County has seen an incredible shift even in the last year. I was just recalling that last June was really when I first, encountered the idea of, hey, it's maybe our community really can benefit from engaging in a couple of different initiatives, bringing things forward, and where we have gone in just 12 months is remarkable. I can share a couple of highlights from that. As Director of Upgrade Athens County, which is a special project of the Southeast Ohio Public Energy Council, which you've heard some from Roger about. We work to connect our community with the resources that they need in order to take advantage of energy efficiency improvements in their home, their business, the schools around here, municipal buildings, agricultural producers taking advantage of opportunities for them. And our goal is to really be that nexus where those resources are more available, that you know you have a place, a phone number, a outreach opportunity, a place to go to find out about ways that you can make improvements. We feel like I would say the most valuable resource in Athens County is our networks, is our community, is the strength that we have in the bonds that we've made with one another. And Upgrade Athens County has really accelerated, I think, because of that network. Related to the initiatives that I mentioned before, we have a Green Schools initiative Roger brought up that is engaging with all of the 5 school districts to both to sort of follow through a 2-phase project. First, engaging in energy efficiency improvements, but then looking at how solar and renewable energy can benefit the school in terms of cost savings, but also the community who can act as shareholders of this solar array in schools. Another initiative that we have brought about is with rental efficiency. You'd asked the question earlier about landlords and the importance of renters having, being proactive about their energy conservation and about working with landlords. And so our engagement strategy there is working with Ohio University, who really, is the reason why we have so many renters in the community, to work on renter education and really helping renters identify ways that they can save energy, whether it's thermostat adjustments or encouraging your landlord to improve your appliances or install LED bulbs. So we have some initiatives going there that are very exciting. We are looking forward to a large influx of LED bulbs in our community on behalf of AEP, which really will demonstrate significant savings, and we will target those towards landlords and municipal buildings specifically, but certainly residences all around Athens County will see some savings from participating in our programs with the LED bulb distribution. We are also busy on the transportation front. There's been some interesting developments to establish a leaf club, which is sort of an emerging idea of kind of like an auto club, but something where we're promoting EVs as a viable alternative to a gas-powered automobile. And that's looking exciting in the sense that people are really, I think, both unaware of the advantages one can gain from driving an EV, and also kind of reticent to take that plunge. So it'll be a great opportunity to get to know the EV a little more as more people in the community reach out and decide to purchase EVs, which are relatively affordable right now. We are working with municipal buildings, and I should say, let me back up a minute. Part of the impetus behind Upgrade Athens County is the Georgetown University Energy Prize, which Chris mentioned earlier. The Georgetown Prize is an amazing catalyst. It's a 2-year competition that pits small communities across the nation not against one another, but in friendly competition to see who can reduce their energy use by the greatest amount in the competition time period, till June 2017. And we think we've got a pretty good shot at this prize, given that our baseline for the last year is not all that great, and we have a lot of improvements that we can really make. So they're really going to be measuring our progress from here forward. 2 years is not a long time, so we are really moving as fast as we can to make these improvements in buildings, encouraging homeowners to take advantage of savings, incentives, rebates, which there are plenty of, to make improvements in your home, small and large, and to just really get involved in this energy economy transition that we really see as a great opportunity for Athens County. So again, I think what we have going already is an amazing and enormous opportunity. You know, win or lose this competition, we are going to make incredible strides. We already have. 1 year on, we've made some significant changes, and that's an understatement. So I look forward to the next coming years as we incrementally change our economy and work towards a brighter energy future.
Thank you, Sarah. Our last speaker is Rick Seitz of the Ohio Hospital Association, and Rick's going to talk a little bit about some innovative things that the association's been undertaking.
Thank you. You can tell I'm an attorney. I'm the only one in the room with a pinstripe suit at the time. And don't hold that against me. I think I came home from Mercy Hospital in Tiffin, Ohio, dressed pretty much this way. Really, thanks for the opportunity to be here and to listen to some really great stories. The businesses and the resources you have are pretty good. And I appreciate what you're doing. And I'm here to share with you what we are doing, a program that I developed with the Ohio Hospital Association. I've been at the Ohio Hospital Association since 1985. Early on, I had responsibility for EPA issues. And since I was a Boy Scout, I got interested in that. And even though I handle attorney licensure and cardiac cath and a whole bunch of regulatory matters outside of the EPA, doing something that benefits the environment has always been important to me. Now, OHA is the trade association for hospitals in Ohio. There are 220 of them. But our target audience for energy and sustainability is about 160, including Ohio Health Glennis Hospital here in Athens, which is actively working in the energy and sustainability program that I'm about to describe. Now, most of what OHA does involves trying to keep people insured. My office, my cubicle looks at the Senate Annex. You were correct when you somebody referenced OHA as an opponent of Senate Bill 310. We were not very happy with that and remain very unhappy and a staunch opponent to what's some really anti-scientific people apparently in the Ohio legislature decided to do, and some of which are very good people, so I can't figure it out. But it's law and regulation and even energy efficiency. It's a 100-year war, so you lose a few battles, but stick with it. So a few years ago, actually almost 20 years ago, I began to develop a very modest program involving environmental stewardship. And I won't go into the details or I'll be here all night. You all will run away before I get to what information I think that will be more useful to you. So we have a very complicated energy and sustainability program, and I'm here to talk about two things. One thing that we're doing first, not as wordy as the second. The first thing I want to mention is that we collaborate with everybody we can, including several organizations represented in this room. And if you want to collaborate us, or if we can help you on this issue, please let me know. My email address is in this booklet. This is a booklet that we worked with the Practice Green Health and Healthcare Without Harm, which are two national organizations that work on environmental and other issues. And they have a 3-year program called Healthier Hospitals Initiative, HHI. We worked with them to put together this publication, which is a case study. We just picked 4 hospitals in Ohio. There are many doing good things, including Glennis. So if you want to know what examples of what the Cleveland Clinic is doing, which is pretty remarkable, they have a deep pocket. They also spend $60 million a year on energy, so they have a reason to focus on energy and other sustainability issues. or university hospitals, which is also in Cleveland. And 2 weeks ago, we had the chief operating officers of both the Cleveland Clinic and university hospitals sitting side by side, talking collaboratively. Now they compete fiercely on patient care, I assure you. But on issues like this is a community issue, as you've all suggested. This is something, this takes a village to work on. And then ProMedica is also a case study. They did a combined heat and power project using a microturbine there in the Toledo area. And then just to show that a little hospital can do something important, there's a case study on Highland District Hospital. That's a 25-bed hospital that raised their Energy Star score about 20 points. Oh, and HHI, part of their campaign, they recognized hospitals that attained a certain amount of energy efficiency savings, and they are listed on the last page of this publication. Along with this, we issued a press release with these organizations, which is out on the table, and I recommend you read it. I was surprised at how strong it was, and my organization signed on to it. So please share it, and yeah. Now, what I really want to talk about is something really cool that we're doing. We're doing, and I'm going to stand for this because I have a problem. We have benchmarked using Energy Star more than 100 hospitals in Ohio. Now, this poster is a bit dated. If we updated it today, we would add probably another 20 dots. This shows the Energy Star score of more than 100 hospitals in Ohio. The Cleveland Clinic hospitals, there are a system of 11, is on this. Ohio has several, maybe all of the Ohio Health hospitals. Ohio Health Hope is on this score, is on this chart. Now, it's anonymous. Only the hospital knows, unless you are in this green area. Because if you are in this green area, you are an Energy Star certifiable hospital. We have, thank you, Scott. Ohio actually ranks third in the country with the number of Energy Star certified hospitals. Actually, there's been a change at one of these. Actually, when we did the professional engineer study that's necessary to certify a hospital, they dropped below 75. We're now working with that CEO to get them back in the green. But we are third in the country with currently 4. California has only 6, so we're going to catch up with them. And Texas has 12, and I'll get back. I don't know if we're going to catch up with Texas, but I'll share something with you about them in a second. To explain this chart very briefly, Energy Star scores are between 1 and 100. That is the vertical line. So if you're up here in green, you're close to 100. That's pretty good. That means you're energy efficient. If you were down in the yellow, that's not very good. Except the great news is, we tell CEOs, you didn't build a hospital, you didn't design it, and you don't run it, so don't feel too bad. But look at the opportunity to improve energy efficiency, right? Save money, help the environment and public health, and mitigate, engage in the battle against climate change. The average in Ohio Energy Star score is only about 35. That's dismal. Okay, that's dismal. CEOs and facility directors have never seen this. There isn't, believe it or not, there's nobody out there that collects this data. Except for Texas, we are the only state that is doing something like this. We do this free. We talk to the utility, AEP, for example, and Columbia Gas. We collect the usage data, and we enter the data in the EPA Energy Star Portfolio Manager. So the horizontal, or the vertical axis is the Energy Star score. The horizontal axis, that's bed size. That's the number of beds in the hospital. We can do square footage, but everybody in a hospital knows how many registered beds they have. So the Cleveland Clinic is out here somewhere. This cuts off at 500 because we don't want you to know where Ohio State is. Okay. We do have now a version of it that goes out to 600 beds. But you can see we have some hospitals that have the lowest Energy Star score you can get. And we had one CEO that after he found out what his score was, he wouldn't talk to us for a month. So this is what we're doing, and so what are the results? Well, and you go ahead and put it down. We have Energy Star, so we have energy usage data for hospitals going back actually to about 2009. But most of them, 91 of the hospitals, go back to 2013. And so we compared energy usage between 2013 and 2014. We found that 46 of those 91 hospitals reduced their energy usage in 1 year by more than 2%. The aggregate of the 91 hospitals reduced their energy by 2.8%. 10 of the hospitals reduced their energy usage by double digits. Well, what does that translate into? It translates into the environmental value of planting 2 million new mature trees, or taking 16,000 cars off the road, or providing 1 year of energy for all homes in Nelsonville and Gloucester combined. Not enough to power the homes in Athens. Or gaining 139 work days because workers didn't call in with respiratory disease, or reducing 769 hospital emergency room or physician office visits. So that's what we did between 2013 and 2014. So now we have we're continuing our benchmarking. We have a contest. We have prizes. It's supported by Intake Power Light and a few other organizations. Energy Star, AP Energy Star office is very strongly behind this. Our goal is to reduce energy usage from last year to the end of this year by 2%. We know we will beat that. Well, the state of Texas heard we were doing this, and so they challenged us. So we are now in a contest with the hospitals in the state of Texas. Of course, we will win. And next year, about